At the beginning of the letter was written, "Please read this so that your brother or sister will not notice." This was the letter my mother had left for me. I continued reading the letter, my hands trembling. It contained shocking details. At the end of the letter, she wrote the location of a certain safe and its code. This letter was also my mother's last will and testament, which my brother and sister had been desperately searching for. I read the letter and wished I had paid more attention to my mother. I hurried to the place, letter in hand, to open the safe. Making sure no one was following me or anything, I entered the PIN number and checked the contents of the safe. I was wide-eyed and amazed when I saw the contents of the safe my mother had left behind. Oh, this is it. At the same time, I made a decision. My name is Nancy Tuck and I am a 28-year-old office worker. I'm working hard now, but I used to be really frail. When I was in elementary and junior high school, I was so weak that I couldn't even do physical education class and had to be hospitalized every time I caught a cold. I was the youngest of 3 siblings and also frail, but my mother always raised me with kindness. My father passed away when I was still young enough to remember things, and my mother worked very hard to raise us. She had her own job at the time, but sometimes she would spend all her time nursing me, leaving the rest of my siblings to take care of me. So I felt very sorry for my brother and sister who were not taken care of by my mother at that time. But thanks to my mother's devoted support, I was able to grow up to be a good person. I started living alone when I entered college. Are you sure you can live on your own? Why don't you commute from my house? But I refused because it was a little far from my house. Don't worry, Mom. I'll be home for the long vacations. Don't worry. My mother looked a little sad, but I promised her that.
Yeah, Mom, let's let Nancy go off on her own, huh?
But I'm worried. I'll be home for the vacations, so you can't keep me here, can you? I understand. But in return, if anything happens, you call me right away, okay? Yes, I promise. I was also sad to be separated from my mother, but my brother and sister, who were already working, were going to take care of her. Since my mother was already getting old, I was very grateful for my brother and sister's offer. At this time, my brother was already married and had my nephew and niece. My mother could play with her grandchildren, so she was not going to be that lonely. As I had promised my mother, I went home every year during the long college vacation and enjoyed talking with her. My brother also came to visit me with my nieces and nephews, and we had a very enjoyable vacation. Eventually, I graduated from college and went to work for a company. My sister also got married and had my nephew. When I started working, I was busy with work and it was difficult for me to go home, but I found time in my busy schedule to go home. When I returned home, I found my nephews playing happily with my mother. My brother and sister would also show up when I returned home, so I was able to spend a pleasant time with them. I felt happy and relieved that I could have such a good time with them. A few months later, in the midst of all this happiness, I received a call from my mother. Hello, Mom. What's up? Hey, I thought I'd like to go visit you where you live. Is that a bad idea? No, not at all. I was a little surprised because I didn't expect my mother to say such a thing. But I was happy to make time for my mother who wanted to see me. A few days later. Today is the day my mother comes to visit. I hurriedly finished all the work I had accumulated for the day and talked to my boss to get paid leave. I picked her up at the bus stop for the long-distance bus and looked for her to come out of the bus. Oh, Mom, I see you. But she looks kind of listless. I immediately tried to call out to my mother whom I found, but for some reason, she did not look well. She used to be so energetic and never stopped smiling. With this thought in mind, I regained my composure and called out to my mother. Oh, Mom. I'm here. Oh, Nancy, I'm so sorry for coming on such short notice. Oh, no. Don't worry about it. Let's have a lot of fun today. But she was worried about me. You've been busy with work, haven't you? I told her with a smile that I was really okay. Then, I enjoyed sightseeing with my mother in a city far from her home. I was very happy to see my mother smiling and enjoying herself so much during the sightseeing. I'm glad. She's really enjoying herself. Thinking about it, was it my imagination that she seemed to be in low spirits at first? No, it was more that I needed her to have a lot of fun right now. With that in mind, I introduced my mother to many places. But of course, it was impossible to visit all of them in one day. Oh, how I wish I could go to more places with you. Thanks, Nancy. You can show me around next time I come back. Okay? Yes, okay. Promise. Yeah, promise. My mother and I looked at each other and laughed. I decided to make a new plan to show her some more places the next time she comes to visit. While I was enjoying myself in this way, the time for the last bus was gradually approaching. It was time for my mother to go home. I'm going to take you to the bus stop. Well, it's already that time. My heart tightened at the sound of my mother's sad voice. As the time for the bus to return home approached, my mother expressed that she was really sad to leave me. Still, my mother said as if she was trying to push away her reluctance to leave. My grandchildren are waiting for me, so I better go home. Yes, I know. But you can call me anytime. I really enjoyed going out with you today, Mom. I had fun too. Now I have another good memory. Let's keep making good memories. Well, Nancy, you take care of yourself from now on, okay? Okay. See you later, Mom. With that, my mother and I parted with smiles on our faces. But I had never seen my mother looking so lonely before, so I sent her off with a bit of apprehension. Yes, I'll call my mother often from now on. I decided in my mind as I saw her off. A few days later, however, the news came out of the blue. That day, I received a rare call from my brother, Sid.
Hello, Nancy, how are you?
Hello, Sid, I'm fine. What's more, it's unusual for you to call me. What's wrong?
Nancy, calm down and listen. Mom passed away.
Oh my God.
It's true. Please come back here as soon as you can.
With that, he hung up the phone. I was still having a hard time accepting the reality of what my brother had just told me. I had been hanging out with my mother just a few days before. So why all of a sudden? My mother had never shown me any signs of such a thing on that day. My mind was whirling around that day's happy event. No, no, no. My mother would get angry at me if I became weak over something like this. With that thought, I pulled myself together and prepared to go back to my brother's house. When I returned home, I was greeted by my brother and sister Maria.
Welcome home, Nancy.
Sid, I'm home. I'm sorry for all the work you did for the funeral and everything.
I'll be the pallbearer, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Thank you, Sid. I'm sure you must be tired of coming home on such short notice. Get some rest. Thank you. And then the funeral took place. The neighbors came to my mother's funeral. My mother was a good neighborly person, and she was missed by many people. When I saw my mother's last face, I cried without being afraid to be seen. My brother's wife supported me. The funeral was over without incident, and I returned home.
We were all able to see her off today. I'm sure Mom would have been very happy to see you off.
Yes, Nancy came home, too, and I'm sure Mom was very happy to see her off. I was a little relieved to hear my brother and sister tell me so. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I had thought that maybe my brother and sister had done something wrong, but it seemed that my fears were unfounded.
Nancy, you're staying with us for a while, right?
Yes, I am. Why?
I need you to watch the kids because I have to go to a lot of places after Mom's death.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, did Mom say anything to you when she saw you?
No, I didn't hear anything, though. Well, my brother said so, and asked nothing more. From the next day on, my brother and sister kept busy. My sister told me to call her if I needed anything and went home. As for me, I was asked to take care of my brother's children, but they are mostly grown up, so the only one I really need to watch is the new baby that was born the other day. While taking care of the baby, I was compiling documents concerning my mother. However, in the process, I found out that the place where my mother died was not this house, but a nursing home far away from here. What? A nursing home? I had never heard from my mother that she had entered a facility. And I had not heard from my brother or sister that my mother had been moved to a facility, nor had they talked to me about it. I thought my brother and sister were hiding something from me, so I took advantage of the time when I was alone and visited the facility where my mother was staying. The first thing I did was to thank them for taking care of my mother. What I heard there was that none of my brother or sister had shown up after my mother was placed in the facility. I was astonished to hear this fact from the people at the facility. If this was true, then my mother had died alone, with no one to take care of her. Your mother was a very calm person. She talked about you a lot. Yes, yes. She was very proud of you, and she also said she sometimes worried about you because you worked harder than anyone else. Really? Did my mother ever say that to you? The people at the facility told me about my mother right up until just before she passed away. I listened to their stories and broke down crying on the spot. The people at the facility gently hugged me and patted my shoulder. I wondered how my mother must have felt when she was left in this facility without my knowledge. I should have listened to her more carefully that day. If I had done so, I might have been able to help her realize her current situation. I couldn't stop crying as my emotions overflowed. Then, I heard from the staff member. Actually, we have something for you from your mother. I was told so. Is this a deposit from my mother to me? Yes. Also, there are some items that were used here, So would it be possible for you to take them back with you? I will hand your luggage over to you at the reception desk. And I received her luggage, which had been left at the facility. Thank you so much for taking care of my mother right up to the end. I bowed deeply to the people at the facility and left. When I returned home and sorted through the belongings I had brought back from the facility, I found a letter. The letter was addressed to me, and the sender was, of course, my mother. The letter I found in the luggage from my mother. The first sentence read, "Please read this letter without your brother, sister, or anyone else noticing." I opened the letter from my mother with trembling hands. Oh, my God. I read the letter and regretted that I should have cared more about my mother. The letter from my mother stated that she had been harassed by my brother and sister. In addition to this, my mother had included photographic evidence of the fact that she had been harassed and an audio recording on her voice recorder. I fearfully played the voice recorder.
Hey, old hag, get a move on.
Yes, sorry. I could hear my brother treating my mother like a slave. I couldn't help but cover my ears. Mom, I'm so sorry I didn't notice anything before. I was sad, frustrated, and apologetic to my mother. I couldn't stop the tears of many emotions. And at the end of the letter was the PIN number of a certain safe. This letter from my mother was also her last will and testament, which my brother and sister had been desperately searching for. Mom. Thank you. I shed more tears as I finished reading the entire letter. Yes, only I had been told about my mother's legacy. And I was determined. I consulted a lawyer so that my brother and sister would not know the contents of the letters. The lawyer also told me that I did not have to say anything to my brother and sister about the letter. One day I asked my brother about my mother. Hey Sid, I want to ask you a few questions about Mom.
Yes.
Well, I saw Mom a few days before she passed away. She seemed a little down at the time, but you guys didn't treat her like she was an obstacle, did you?
What? Oh, we wouldn't have done that, would we? It was Mom who raised us, my siblings, all these years.
Yes, but I got the feeling that because of my physical weakness in the past, your mother didn't take care of you and your sister, and you might have resented her for that.
Even if that were true, it was a long time ago. You didn't like being weak either. We know that.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry for asking such a strange question out of the blue. That is how I tried to find out if my brother and sister were harassing my mother, but my brother refused to admit that he was bullying her and continued to hide it from me. I decided I could no longer trust my brother and left his house on the grounds that I was going back to work. Eventually, my brother, sensing that I was the only one who knew about my mother's inheritance, began to probe me. Sid, what's going on? I've been kind of busy at work lately.
Nancy, do you have anything you're not telling us?
What? What on earth are you talking about?
For example, Mom's will, her inheritance.
I don't know anything about that.
Really?
He was asking me so persistently that I just said, I really don't know anything. What? Are you doubting me?
Because you were the one who saw Mom right before she passed away, and you were close to her, weren't you? It's strange that the will didn't come out.
I exploded with anger at my brother for bullying my mother and being so concerned about the whereabouts of the money. Then let me tell you something. On the contrary, you have something to hide, don't you? I know, that you and your sister have been harassing Mom.
I told you, I didn't do it.
You can say that? Actually, I have proof that you and your sister were harassing Mom.
What do you mean? Who the hell would?
My brother was clearly upset. There seemed to be no doubt that he was bullying my mother after all. You think I'm going to tell you something like that? What do you think will happen to you guys if I bring this out into the open?
Damn.
Unable to say anything, my brother hung up the phone violently. At that time, I succeeded in evading my brother thanks to the flicker of evidence of the bad karma I had obtained. But because of that flicker of evidence, my brother seemed to have gotten the idea that I knew something about my mother's will and inheritance. After this day, my brother began to call me persistently. Sid, you're so persistent.
Shut up. All you have to do is answer honestly.
I told you, I don't know. Besides, I'm busy at work right now. He questioned me at every turn about what I would know about my mother's legacy and will, but I was not to be outdone by my brother and talked back. Still, my brother refused to give up. So I decided I didn't want to get involved any further and blocked calls from my brother. However, when he found out that I had blocked his calls, he now came to my house, which surprised me. Why are you here?
Because you won't give me an honest answer, will you?
I told you, I don't know.
Just show me the house. I'm sure you're hiding it somewhere.
Would you normally go this far, even if you are siblings? I had to do something because it was disturbing the neighbors. Sid, if you keep following me around any longer, I will report you to the police as a stalker, okay?
What? You would do that to your brother?
I'm serious. And even now, you're a big nuisance to the neighbors. My brother flinched when I said this in strong language, and he became alarmed at his surroundings. Loud voices could be heard in the neighborhood, and I could hear people outside looking at us and whispering something in hushed tones. My brother thought the situation was indeed bad and left, saying he would come back. As I watched his back, I shouted at him that if he came again, I would really call the police. He was afraid of getting caught by the police after I told him that much, and he never showed up again. After this incident, I decided that it was not a good idea for me to continue living in my current house any longer and considered moving out. Since it was my brother, he might enter the house while I was gone. I wanted to avoid that. Oh, yes. At that moment, I remembered the location of the safe written in the letter my mother had left me and the code to open it. I hurriedly took the letter and went to the location of the safe mentioned in the letter. After making sure no one was following me, I checked the contents of the safe. What the heck? I was wide-eyed with surprise when I saw the contents of the safe my mother had left behind. Inside the safe was money, estimated to be $200,000, and the key to the house she had bought before her death. How could my mother have hidden so much money? When did she hide it? I looked for anything else besides the money and the house key. Then I found a letter at the bottom of the safe. There, in my mother's handwriting, was a single sentence, asking me to use it for my happiness. Oh, Mom. You cared about me that much. I shed tears in front of the safe. How many times have I shed tears since my mother passed away? Thank you, Mom. I will spend what Mom left me with great care. I love you too, Mom. Deciding that this was the last time I would cry, I thought about the future. And I decided that my safety came first, and that I would move and live in the house my mother had left me to escape my brother. This would give me peace of mind for a while, I thought. But the peaceful life never came, and this time my sister's family identified my house and came to visit. Nancy, long time no see. How did you find me here? Someone I know happened to find you and told me. Oh. That's right. So what can I do for you? About that, I divorced my husband the other day. Oh, you were so happy, and now you're divorced? That's right. I became a single mother. And now I have a new boyfriend and I want to go out with him. So I need you to take care of Dean. When I'm not working, that's fine, but you have to let me know ahead of time from now on. I happen to be off today, so that's fine. Thanks, that helps. Well, take care of my son today. With that, she left Dean with me and went out. I could not help but be amazed at my sister. I wondered how she could be the mother of a child and rely on me, no matter how much she had become a single mother after her divorce. After that, my sister frequently contacted me to leave Dean with me. When I happened to be busy with work and could not respond to her calls, she would end up leaving Dean alone in front of my house. Although I felt sorry for Dean in the beginning and kept him in my house, Dean was a rather ill-behaved nephew. Basically, it was on my days off from work that I would take care of Dean. In the midst of all this, Dean always seemed to be ransacking the house. I knew that I could not keep Dean forever, as I did not know what he would do if I was not careful. Because every time Dean came, something was missing from my house. At first I didn't get mad at him, especially since everything was safe to lose. Since my sister didn't seem to be working properly, Dean seemed to be looking for his own way in life. However, I came to regret that I should have scolded Dean at this time when I first noticed him. One day, as I was doing my chores, I noticed Dean in my bedroom. Dean, what are you doing in my bedroom?
Oh. No.
Dean is clearly upset and flustered. He was trying to hide something at the same time I called out to him. Dean, show me what you just hid.
I ain't hiding nothing.
Don't lie to me. I was watching you.
Don't bother me.
Unwilling to answer my question, Dean pushed me away. At that moment, I saw what Dean was clutching. Hey, that's my wallet. No matter how much trouble he was in, he wasn't even getting to it. I rushed after Dean, who was trying to take my Benjamin Franklin away. This was an unforgivable act. I hurried to catch Dean. For once, Dean should not have done this, and I seriously scolded him for the first time. Then, because of Dean's previous problematic behavior, I couldn't take it anymore and called the police. I told the police about Dean's problematic behavior up to this point. I also told them about my sister, so they called her in as well. What in the world is going on? We were just having fun. You were having fun? What were you doing by yourself? Leaving your kid with other people? Well, that's not important. You better explain to me why you called me out. My sister did not seem to understand why she was being called out, so when I told her that Dean had stolen my wallet, she turned pale. She seemed to say something to Dean in a whisper, but that was enough for me to get a general idea of what was going on. My sister must have heard from my brother that I might have my mother's inheritance all to myself. So she had sent Dean to me. Well, actually, I think one of her purposes was to have fun with her new boyfriend. Because of what happened with my brother, I knew to some extent what my sister was trying to do, but I had no idea it had gone this far. But then again, they were too persistent in what they were doing. I was the angriest I had ever been in my life. You. What? I had a pretty good idea what you were going to do. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb with me. Your brother told you a lot of things, didn't he? But I'm sorry. It's all so obvious, isn't it? So, what are you talking about? Well, you don't have to say it here. You will be interrogated by the police for a long time after this. My sister was shaking her body when I smiled at her. Perhaps I was smiling, but my eyes were not. The police seemed to flinch a little, too, so I figured I must have looked really scared. Dean did not look up at all after I called the police. My sister was shaking and unable to say anything. The two of them were rushed by the officer and taken to the police station together. Finally, I could return to my quiet days. After I saw them off, I dove into the sofa in the living room of my house. I felt exhausted. I wondered how much I had been putting myself through. But it was only natural that I would feel lighter thinking that from now on I would be able to spend my days in peace and quiet. Then, a few months later, after my sister and her son were taken away by the police, I never heard from my brother and sister again. Dean's attempted theft was also settled with a light sentence because he was a minor. I hoped that from now on he would lead a decent life and not be influenced by my sister, his mother. My sister had not been punished that much either, due to the lack of solid evidence. However, due to the incident Dean had caused and her own transgressions, she had to pay alimony to me. Because of this, I heard from my lawyer that her new boyfriend had also run away from her, and that my sister was now working day and night. As for me, I have hardly touched the money my mother left me, and I am still working steadily. She left it to me for my own good, and I want to take good care of it. I have also started a relationship with a man who is my senior at the same place of work. He seems to like my energetic and cheerful personality. He is a very kind and steady senior, so I often have to rely on him. I try to do my own work as much as possible, but it is really nice to have someone care about me like this. On the other hand, the older siblings still seem to be having financial troubles, even though they are aware that their mother's inheritance, which they had been counting on, is not theirs. My sister apparently only worked day and night at first, and quit her job sometime after that. Is my sister forgetting that she has money she has to pay me? I heard through my lawyer that my brother also contacted me asking for money because he owes a debt. They are really troublesome people. But I am not going to forgive my brother and sister, so I will stay out of their lives from now on. I made up my mind not to be like my siblings for the sake of my own happiness. And I vow to my mother in heaven that I will never forget her kindness and that I will make a close family from now on. What did you think of this story? Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video. 37, 33.